Hell, SNA fans, sorry about that. Like it just ended right and like right out of nowhere, and yeah, like due to it like not staying long, and yeah, and some connection difficulties and stuff, which yeah, it had a limit up to at 50 at the 57-minute mark, I guess, and and hopefully this will be more longer when I'm when on this next video clip, which is the second clip of AEW Dynasty. But as what I was saying before it got cut through, like this is where Jericho and Hook got thrown in the ring after another failed pin attempt by Hook. This is where then Jericho then tried to go for a clothesline right onto Hook. This is where then he go put him right on the top rope. And before I continue, I should have known that there was going to be so many unsuccessful pin attempts from the reigning defending FTW champ. That's going to be given to the current FTW champion. This is where then Jericho then went right up on the top rope in the bottom right. This is where then Jericho started hitting right hands right into the face of the what's that the onto the what's that called, the handsome devil, or what he's called, the cool handsome or something like that. I don't know exactly, but it goes like that. But anyway, this is where Jericho didn't hit a big hurricane Rana right into the lower right side. This is where try to go for a pin, but this is where Hook then kicks out at 2.5, 2.5. I should rephrase that. But anyway, this is where Jericho's like, okay, like I kind of figured that was not going to happen because that's not a move that puts anybody away. Like it's kind of useless. But this is where then Jericho went right under the ring and he was trying to select what else is going to be his next weapon. But this is where then he grabs what he wanted. This is where he grabs a trash can, which it had a kendo stick inside, which he separated it separated it from each other. And this is where he took the kendo stick out, he pushed it right into the ring. This is where he grabs the trash can, throws it over the top rope. This is where then he went right up onto the into the right side and then got back in. This is where he blew a kiss right at Taz. He was in a sarcastic manner. This is where then there's where fans are like, oh, like he really just had to go that far. And that's where then he tried to hit Taz's son with that trash can head first into a collision, in a very painful collision. But this is where we got hooked and duck out of the way. Try to hit him with a German suplex, with him dropping the trash can right into the other side in the lower right. And then this is where then Hook was like, like my head with him kind of damaging his head, like trying to successfully hit him with the German suplex and dodging out of his way of from him hitting him with the trash can. This is where then Hook then grabs onto the trash can, puts it right onto Jericho's head that was covering his head, his torso, and pretty much his upper half part of his body. Just where then Hook then grabs onto the kendo stick, started whacking him right with the kendo stick. Jericho was like no, please stop, have mercy. And this is where he was like nope, like I'm not gonna show any mercy. This is where he grabs onto Jericho, and this is where he hits an exploder suplex right onto Jericho, right in the middle of the ring. This is where we got Hook then go right on to Jericho. This is where he grabs the trash can out of his head. This is where then he tried to go for a pin. This is where he tried to go for a pin, but this is where we got Aubrey Edwards counting the 2 until Jericho kicks out at 2.2. This is where then, and I was thinking like, wow, like I never seen nobody damn, like nope, I haven't seen nobody get hit with a exploder suplex like this before, like this. Like this was very creatively brutal, creatively brutal from the Hook to think about a planned spot like this. Like when it comes to being prepared for a match like this at a big stage of one of AEW's PPVs. But anyway, this is where we got Hook then go right onto the top corner of the ringside area. Outside, this is where then he picks up the banner under the ring. And this is where then he goes under there, grabs some kind of a weapon, which was a table, which the fans started going loud and getting hyped up for it, like because Hook's kind of the more of the baby face of this feud between him and the Lionheart. But this is where he grabbed the table. This is where the fans start saying, "That's what we've been waiting for." And this is where Jericho's like, "How come y'all didn't cheer when I didn't do it?" Like when him still laying down into the ring. This is where the fans are like, "We do not like you because you're trying to humiliate Hook and trying to not actually make him into a star and actually leading them to the right path. You're just nothing but a jealous, soured old man." And then Jericho's like, "Hey, you watch that." And anyway, this is where we got Hook then got the table that he dragged under the ring in the top corner. This is where then he tried to go for go and place the table right into the upper right side. Yes. Yes, Birdie Bird. Oh, my bad. But okay, I'm doing it right now. But anyways, yeah, this is where we got Hooked and placed the table right to the upper right side. This is where we got Hooked and grab onto Jericho. This is where then he tried to go for an exploder suplex right onto the Lionheart. This is where then he started accidenting his way out of the exploder suplex. This is where Hook then immediately go for a right forearm, following it up with a running right to the upper corner ropes. This is where he tried to go for a running attack move. He did not know what move was it, which that was a horrible mistake. And this is where Jericho then hit a big boot right into Hook's face. This is where he went right to the bottom corner ropes. But he gets caught with Hook with an exploder suplex or a hip suplex. I think it was hip. Jericho made a huge mistake himself. They're not sure what move he's going to hit him. But this is where we got then Jericho after a kick got. But after Hook and him got back up, this is where Jericho then hit a big code breaker right in the middle of the ring. And then if he didn't fell right down, then we could have possibly seen a new FTW champion soon enough. But anyway, this is where we got Jericho and Hook. Then we're slowly but surely getting up. This is where we got but then when they finally got back up, this is where we got but this is where we saw Jericho then toss Hook right into the table. Like I believe Hook was trying to throw him right in there, but instead we got Jericho finally getting his retribution onto the cool handsome devil. I believe that's what he called himself. Yeah. This is where then we got Jericho then said like, "I'm sorry, Hook. I had to do what I got to do in order for you to understand." And then fans were like, "What do you want them to understand?" And this is where fans are saying, you suck to him because Hook is so over right now. We so over right now, to the point that whoever fights him, they're going to be getting booed out of the building, like pretty much. But because this is where we got this is where we saw Jericho then try to go for a Judas effect, but this is where Hook then intercepted into a dragon screw lock, like when grabbing him the leg, try to go for an ankle lock. But this is where Chris Jericho then grabbed onto his leg. This is where he tried to go for the walls. This is where we got this is where he finally got him into the walls in the middle of the ring. This is where we got Hook then trying to crawl right into the top corner. This is where we got and where the Hook and try to crawl right up to the left side of the ropes is where we got Jericho then pulls him right in the middle of the ring. This is where then he readjusts him, go for the walls of Jericho. This is where Hook was like, "No, I'm not going to tap out. You might as well forget it." And this is where Jericho's like, "Okay, like I have all night. Like I'm not gonna stop until you do." And this is where but Hook then finally figure out how to escape out of the walls of Jericho, flips him right into the middle of the ring, goes for arm wrapping to the legs to go for a pinfall. But this is where Jericho kicks out of a 2.3 or 4. This is where then we got Jericho try to go for a clothesline right on the Hook. Hook ducks, got him in the red room. But this is where Jericho then elbows him. He was kind of unsuccessful of hitting the submission hold on to him. This is where we got then Jericho then turned around, and this is where after hanging on to the ropes like about for a good 5 seconds. This is where then Hook then did the same right to the right side while Jericho was on the upside. This is where they got back in the middle. This is where we saw Jericho. They got a guaranteed Judas effect, like after trying to hit the move right onto him at first before Hook dodges out of it. But yeah, this is where he finally hits the Judas effect. This is where he tried to go. This is where, he got the guarantee, but not a guaranteed pinfall. Well, at least not this time. But anyway, this is where we got Hook then kicks out of it at 2.8, I believe. Yeah, because where Jericho was in shock because it's very rare for a wrestler. That's what Jericho did. Like I forgot to say that he low blowed Hook right when he tried to go for the red room. That's why he couldn't fully successfully hit that move. But this is where Jericho didn't hit a Judas effect right onto him. Got a 2.8 pinfall, but Jericho still couldn't believe it because it's only just a couple of times that the move got kicked out before in AEW. Like how did he kick out of here right here? Usually that puts away a lot of wrestlers, including the likes of Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page before. But anyway, this is where then Jericho to try to go for another one. Surprisingly, he successfully hit it because you know the rule. Like if the first time, like if it's successfully hit, the second time won't be a guaranteed, which it seemed like it was because he probably must have gotten that card that you can use to hit a double whammy onto your opponent, and the second time is a charm. Which I'm not sure if the second time was the charm, even though he did hit the Judas effect for the second straight time in a row. No. What am I saying? Like it was the third straight time in a row. I would say a double. It was for the third time is the charm, like which is the card. Like no matter if he's double cursed or not, like it would work no matter what. This is what happened here. This is where he tried to go for a pin, but he was so close of getting 3 with Hook getting the shoulder up at 2.9999999999999 double triple point 9. Minus 0.1 away from getting 3. Jericho was still like, oh, come on. Like, I know you're an unbeatable dude, but like nobody have ever survived out of getting hit with 2 straight Judas effects before. This is where then fans were chanting, yes, 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 while Jericho shout out no to everybody. No, it's not how it's supposed to be. And this is where Jericho then started looking for something under the ring, which was none other than his favorite bat, which he likes using on to his opponents, like especially in no DQ matches, which the bat's name is Floyd the baseball bat. But anyway, this is where we got Jericho then goes right back in the ring. This is where he and try to use it and for his advantage. This is where Jericho's like, this is for you leave me no choice, Hook. Then it's gonna hurt me more than you when I hit you in the head with this. Like you leave me no choice to this. Like this is all your fault, Hook. Like I'm sorry, but you led me to this. And then this is where it's like, don't make me do this, Hook. Take this back right now. Go back and finally listen to me. Just listen to me for once, Hook, in your life. And this is where Hook was like, never. I will never listen to you. You're not. You don't have my best interest. And then this word's like, okay, you leave me no choice. This word then. But this is where they try to hit him in the head. This is where Hook was like, no, stop, please, what? But before Jericho even have a second thought, he just hit it right in the head anyways, cracking him right into the skull, cracking the bat right into the skull, of course. This is where he went flat onto the ground right to the left side. This is where Jericho dropped the bat, went for the cover, and shockingly he got the 1, 2, 3. And I was like, maybe Hook will kick out of this because nothing's not putting him down. But yeah. He unfortunately for Hook and his fans, it was not the case because this is where Jericho once he hit that bat, he went straight to the pin and he got the 3. And and you guessed it, he's your new FTW championship. And I was like, I'm very shocked at this. I was thinking to myself, maybe he could do an upset on tonight's AEW Dynasty. But I said it yesterday when I made my review video for AEW Collision. And I was like, I'm not sure. Like don't be. I even said that. I was like, don't be surprised. Like if Jericho did so, but I'm not sure if he will because they look like Hook looked like a lifer with that FTW championship. I was about to call it the AEW FTW champion, but it's not really an AEW original championship that's exclusively for that company. When it's a championship that Taz created, like way before Hook even had possession onto that championship gold. But anyways, yeah, your new champion, FTW champion to be exact, the Lionheart Chris Jericho, and I want to give a humongous congratulations to Chris Jericho for successfully defeating Hook for this championship, being the second ever wrestler of doing that, like next to a certain individual that that's the reason why who's the reason why CM Punk's no longer in AEW, and that finished up with New Japan. That's rumored to be making his return. Gee, I wonder when that will be. But anyways, let's move on. But this is where Chris Jericho then grabbed onto the but this is where Hook then went right into the ring. This is where he was like, I told you so, Taz. Like I told you to have my back and advise a Hook to take my advice. But none of y'all didn't listen. So both of y'all learned the hard way. And it's where Taz was like I don't want to hear it. Like you go away. Like you won the championship. You proved to my son wrong. I guess. Like just go, just leave. I'll take it from here. And this where Taz, this is where Jericho surprisingly listened to Taz and he left out of there. And I was thinking to myself like, gee, like don't tell me this is gonna be some kind of an angle that Taz is going to be Hook's manager again, except with Hook being the lead role as Taz's client, rather than being in some kind of an assistant of Taz. Like when Hook was teaming with Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks and Brian Cage as Team Taz. Like when Taz was a manager before he went full time in commentary. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below about this situation. Do you think that Taz is going to give some advice to Hook? But Hook's going to be the total opposite than he was with Jericho. And he's going to be listening because he's not going to shove it down his throat and force him to do it. He's going to advise him on what to do, on how to defeat Jericho to win the FTW championship right back. And are you well invested to this into this feud between Jericho and Hook? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this is getting very interesting. Like hopefully they go full time into this with Taz being Hook's manager because it has so much potential on into this angle between these two grapplers. But anyways, yeah, let's move on to the next match, which is Thunder Rosa taking on Timeless Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship match, which I just started off with Thunder Rosa Irish whipping Timeless Tony Storm after grappling it, going back and forth with Thomas Tony Storm hitting a big boot right onto Thunder Rosa. This is where then Tony marching around Thunder Rosa's marching around Thunder Rosa right in a big circle, and then this is where she started stomping onto the face of Rosa. But yeah, I forgot to say that as soon as Timeless Tony Storm got out in the ring, this is where she started kind of provoking Thunder Rosa, and this is where they revealed it when the black and white colors went out of the ring, and this is where they got into the color lights, and this is where she had some black and white face paint on, trying to mock Thunder Rosa in her own way. But this is where Thunder Rosa did not take this lightly, and this is where she started going right at her and started beating the sugar honey iced tea out of her. And this is where she Irish whip her right. That's when she Irish whip her right into the right side, but she gets booted instantly right into the face of Timeless Tony Storm. This is where the Timeless one then put Rosa right into the bottom right corner of the turnbuckle. This is where she then tossed her right into the other side, the diagonal corner into the upper left side. This is where Thunder Rosa then landed right onto the upper left bottom turnbuckle until Tony then grab onto Thunder, and this is where she hit her with a big right hand. This is where then she then throw her from the left to the right side ropes. This is where then she goes for sidewalk slam, but this is where Rosa then counters it into a flying head scissor. This is where Storm then roll out of the ring into the left side. This is where we got Thunder Rosa then go right up on the top rope and of the upper left side. This is where then she hit the tornado corkscrew slash corkscrew splash right onto Tony Storm and Luther. Like with them doing backflips for days. With Thunder Rosa was like, yeah, like let's do this here, everybody. This is where the Mariah May then try to distract Thunder Rosa, going right up to her face, like about 2, if not 1 feet away from her. And yeah, and this is where my prediction kind of came true, because I did say like we could see some outside shenanigans, which not only we saw Mariah May, but we also saw Deonna Purrazzo. But this is where she was trying to even the odds, but I'm not sure for what reason. Like when this match don't have anything to do with her, only just the winner or who could possibly win. She could be facing her. Not not trying to be judgmental here for AEW, but it just kind of didn't make no sense. Like she should be like kind of like in a similar situation with Mercedes Moné. Like whoever's going to walk out as AEW Women's World Championship could possibly face Deonna Purrazzo, even though they shouldn't make it too similar to what they're doing with what's her name with Deonna. What they're doing with Deonna with the Women's World Championship, like what they're doing with the CEO with the TBS Championship. I think they should be doing they should be booking them in different, in a different kind of way, yeah, if you know what I mean. But yeah, let's hope that we could see Deonna Purrazzo then be in the number one contenders match with someone like a Serena Deeb, and seeing who's going to go after next for either Tony Storm or Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship, whoever's going to win this match. But anyways, this is where Thunder Rosa's like, I see what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work on me. This is where then she grabs onto Tony Storm. This is where she throws her right back in the ring. This is where then she started putting her boot right into the neck of Tony Storm, and putting her head going right down to the right, facing down onto the bottom corner apron, which she thought, she nearly crushed it right into the apron, because that's crushed her head right into the apron, like, because after all, that is the hardest part of the ring. And then the boots are no better when the wrestlers use them when they're stomping their opponents with. This is where you start going for a double foot stomp right onto Tony. This is where until the referee then counted to 2 on a 5-second DQ warning. This is where then she grabs onto to the timeless one. This is where she was like, I know, I got her right around my arms. This is where she got her in the middle of the ring and hit a suplex, which she flips right over into a pin. But this is where the referee counted only the 2 at 2.2. This is where then we got her then and a snapmare right onto. This is where we got her and got the former AEW Women's Champion, got the current AEW Women's Champion in the snapmare position. And this is where then she started going for a sleeper hold. This is where she started going for 10 beats to the cleavage, which I would say was just with the 10 beats to the brawling, or what Sheamus calls his version of the 10 beats to the chest, which I'm not sure what to say at this point. But Thunder Rosa did exactly to Tony Storm, started beating the hell out of her. This is where then she goes for a pin. This is where the referee then try to count to 3, but you only got a 2 with Tony Storm kicking out at 2 even. This is where we got Thunder Rosa then got her right up. This is where then she tried to go for some kind of a power slam or pile driver like maneuver, like a reverse power slam, like a reverse pile driver move, like about to go for a tombstone power driver, or some kind of a power slam driver. But this is where we got timeless Tony Storm then pushes her right to the bottom rope. This is where she runs right through it. This is where she gets catch right onto Tony Storm, and this is where she hits a follow-away backbreaker right onto to Rosa. This is where then she goes for a pin. Thunder Rosa kicks out at 2.1. This is where then Tony was like, come on, like that should have worked. Like, and this is where she she was like, I know exactly what's definitely gonna work, and this is where she picks her up. This is where she goes for a sidewalk backbreaker. This is where then she goes. And this is where fans are like half of the fans in the arena were chanting for Thunder Rosa, while the other half was chanting Tony Storm, like Thunder Rosa, Tony Storm, like like simply like when two individuals that are fighting each other that are well over right now and fan favorites, they're going to be cheered on by the fans. Which that's what that was the scenario here on tonight's Women's World Championship match and at Dynasty with both Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa. But this is where we got. This is where we got then Tony Storm to go for an elbow right into the lower back of Tony. Tony Storm did that to Thunder Rosa, right into the bottom corner of the ring, like of the right through the canvas in the canvas mat. This is where then she tried to go for a pin, but Thunder Rosa instantly kicked out at one even. This is where Tony Storm was like, "Oh, come on! Like this should have been way more than that." This is where Thomas Tony Storm's like, no matter, I got another plan up my sleeves. This is where then she started going for a double foot stomp, and this is where she started doing some kind of a brutal back massage, I guess, to the Thunder Rosa, because she was going up and then back down, up. And this is where she was screaming, stop, like, this is hurting me, like, yeah, like, please get off my back. And this is where then she was like, okay, as you wish, my darling. And this is where Thomas Tony Storm did kneed her right into the back, like in her lower back. She was like, that much better? She was like, not even, that was even worse standing on it when she did put double knees right into it. And you know how painful that is. When even if you're small or big, that's not going to be you're not going to be guaranteed safe. Like, but anyway, this is where we got Tony Storm to put Thunder Rosa right into the bottom right side. This is where then she tried to go for an avalanche slamming maneuver, like, which was a avalanche suplex. Like, this is where she then hit a headbutt and then some right hands until Thunder Rosa then started hitting Tony's midsection, like about a couple times right in the midsection. This is where then she took in control, like after she hit a big headbutt right into the head of the Timeless One. This is where the former AEW Women's Champion then went right over Tony Storm and hit a sunset flip. And then this is where she tried to go for a powerbomb, which she finally got to that point, like slamming her right into the ring. This is where she tried to go for a pin, but this is where, like, as soon as she got her down after hitting the most dominating powerbomb I've ever seen in a women's match, but she only got a 2.3 count after going for a pin while placing her whole body right on the Tony's. But this is where we got Thunder Rosa then got back on that exact same top rope that she was just on when she nearly got avalanche slammed right on the Tony when right after she countered it into an avalanche move of her own, even though it was at the last minute she slammed her. But anyway, this is where then she hit a middle missile drop kick right on the Thomas Tony Storm, right off the top rope in the bottom right side. This is where then Thunder Rosa was like, okay, I think my time is up. This is where she picks her up. This is where she hits her with the Tijuana bomb, like when she got put Tony Storm right onto her shoulders, slamming her right into the ground. This is where Thunder Rosa was like, okay, now I'm back in my game. This is where the Thunder Rosa then hits what's that, crucifix slam right onto Tony Storm, or a crucifix bomb, that's what it's called. This is where she tried to go for a pin, but this is where Tony Storm kicks out at 2.8, which the referee reminded the bellkeeper and Thunder Rosa that it was 2. This is where he started checking on Thunder Rosa. Not Thunder Rosa, it was Tony Storm he was checking on, like, to make sure she wasn't somewhat injured, like, after taking that crucifix bomb, because she landed hard while taking the move. But this is where Thunder Rosa was like, and she was like, "Come on, Tony, honey, like get into position." This is where she got her right into the bottom corner, into the bottom ropes. This is where then she hits while running from the top corner ropes, and this is where she hits a middle drop kick right into the head of the Timeless One. This is where we got Thunder Rosa then. And this is where she started telling the Tony Storm fans, she was like, "Yeah, like, Tony Storm's really your hero and your favorite wrestler. Like y'all must be blind, because Tony Storm is nothing but a what's that? Nothing but a fraud actress that's a snob, like, or also a snob. She's a snobby false actress, I guess you could say, or something like that. Well, basically, I should say for short, she's just a snob. Basically, she was like she's just a snob. Like, how you can be a fan of her? And this is where she picks her up. This is where she hits my finishing maneuver, which everybody calls it the Death Valley Driver, except for Dreamer and Velveteen Dream. But anyways, which is also my finishing maneuver, which is known as the most dominating move in all of professional wrestling, the Assassin Valley Drop. Which I'm not sure why I might keep calling it the Assassin Valley Driver when other wrestlers are saying it. Some of y'all say, Austin, why would you say that? But I'm saying it because just for some kind of some entertainment vortex or something like that, like into my video, just to make it extra entertaining while watching my review videos. But anyway, this is where she hits it right on to the time was Tony Storm. Unfortunately, that did not work in the favor of Thunder Rosa, and I was being very disappointed that move would never work. I never work unless I get into the wrestling business, which I'm not sure if I'll ever do that. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna have to see if I can even get into the groove into such industry like this one. But anyway, this is where Thunder Rosa then try to go for a pin, but this is where we got Timeless Tony Storm got the shoulder up at 2.8 again, I believe. This is where then Thunder Rosa was like, what is up with her kicking out, and especially 2 straight times at 2.8. And then this is where Thunder Rosa was like, oh well, like, never mind. I'm just gonna. And this is where fans were then once again to start chanting, like other half chanting Rosa, other half Storm, and then this is where Thunder Rosa did nearly put her away with her with that pile driver maneuver or finishing move, that pile driver, which she has a different name for. But this is where we got Thunder Rosa then her back gave out. This was like the agony pain, and this is where we got Timeless Tony Storm then took advantage of that time and rolled and got an opportunity to go. Gave herself the opportunity to go up into the upper right corner side. This is where then Thunder Rosa then try to hit a splash right onto Timeless Tony Storm, but this is where she gets hit right into the head. This is where then she tried to go for a spear right onto Tony Storm, but this is where Tony Storm flips right out of it. This is where then she goes right on trying to go for a splash, but this is where Thunder Rosa did try to put her foot right on to stop her, but it didn't stop her. This is where she just found another opportunity to bring down the former AEW Women's Champion. She puts her legs right onto into the upper corner ropes in the middle, and this is where she hits a backstabber right onto the Thunder Rosa. This is where the Timeless Tony Storm went right up on the top rope, hit the swinging tornado DDT. This is where she picks up Thunder Rosa. This is where she hits a Fisherplex right onto the Thunder Rosa. This is where Thunder Rosa then kicks out of it. This is where Thunder Rosa was like, my agonizing back, and this is where Thomas Tony was like, like I didn't win, like what does it take just to permanently put Rosa down for good? And this is where Referee was continuing to give a reminder to the fans and everybody involved, like the fans and everybody involved, like that was down in the ring. This is where what's her name improvised Mariah May. She was like, look, I'm here, surprise, I want to be the star of the show as well, like just like my hero Tony. And this is where referee's like, but you're not in the match, like you need to get down and stay where you're at and know your place. And then this is where Mariah May's like, what are you talking about? Like, fans want to see action. Like, I'm going to give them some kind of attention, like, action. And then this is where is where the fans did see both attention and action, but not because of this distraction, but what was going about to happen, because we got Deonna Purrazzo came in and she got bored of this so-called attention or attention in action. This is where she trips her over, hits her face first right onto the apron. This is where then this is where we got Deonna Purrazzo, then gets her right onto her shoulders, hits her face first right onto the apron. This is where then she hits her face first right on the symbol of the steel steps. This is where then Deonna Purrazzo caught Luther, then try to then tackle Deonna Purrazzo. It seems like he does not give no cares at all of attacking women. I'm not sure if he should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of himself or not. But this was very funny. Like, for him trying to attack a woman, even though AEW is a totally different breed than what WWE do now, and with them still being a PG product, even though it's the new Renaissance PG era. But yeah, this is where he gets this is where then he gets dodged by Deonna Purrazzo. Like, I don't know what's up with him trying to attack other women except for Thomas, Tony Storm, and Mariah May. Which, that's his clients, I guess you could say, or I won't say kind of clients, but anyways, yeah. But that's where we got that's where Mariah May hit the first strike right onto Deonna Purrazzo with a forearm, with Deonna Purrazzo entering right back. This is where they start playing wrestling tennis with one another. It's like, and this is where they are taking each other right to the backstage, with them pulling each other's hair, with them still throwing fists at you. And this is what distracted Thunder Rosa, because she had her back turned right on Tony Storm. This is where she took advantage of the opportunity to grab Thunder Rosa from behind, hit her with a big, ginormous German suplex. This is where she got her right to the bottom left side of the ring. This is where she hits her with the sweet cheek music. This is where she hits her with the Storm Zero. 1, 2, 3. Still your AEW Women's World Champion. Timeless Tony Storm. I made a mistake. At first, it was a kick out. This is where let me rephrase that. This was it also had Thomas Tony Storm then went for a single leg Boston Crab. That's what happened. This is where Thunder Rosa then was like, no, like I'm not, or it is where Thunder Rosa was like, he didn't grab onto the ropes, and referee gave a 5-second warning. This is where she was like, dang it, like that didn't work. And this is where she was like, no time playing around anymore. This is where she's like, all right, finish the job. This is where she did try to grab onto Thunder Rosa, but this is where she got out of the grasp of the Timeless One, ducks out of it, backstabber. This is where then she goes for Cobra clutch, Cobra clutch, grounded Cobra clutch, crossface right on the Timeless Tony Storm. This is where Tony Storm was like 5 inches away from tapping out of the Cobra Cobra crossface clutch. This is where she was under the ropes, which that still counts as a rope break, because as long as you're over or under or even between the ropes, that's still a rope break. And this is where she started grabbing onto and this is where Timeless Tony Storm then grabbed onto the apron banner. And this is where the referee was still counting Thunder Rosa. This is where she had to let go, or else she would have got DQ'd, and that means she would have not. That means she wouldn't be walking out of AEW Dynasty as your new Women's World Champion. But she still wasn't gonna win anyways, because this is where the referee got his back turned right onto to fix the apron banner. This is where we got. This is where we got Thunder Rosa try to go for a clothesline, but this is where Tony Storm ducks out of it, and this is where she kicks her right into the right to the place you do not want to get hit at. And it seemed like she's not going to be starting a family with her husband if she has one. I don't know. I heard that she got married, but the point is, you get my joke. But it seemed like that she's not going to be starting a family, starting to add a new family member into her family, like anytime soon in the next 14 days. Like, and because she got a low blow right down there, just where then she gets hit with the Storm Zero 1, 2, 3 with with a typical heel cheap what's that tactic, cheap shot tactic like a typical heel would do. And your winner of this match is Timeless Tony Storm, and still your AEW Women's World Champion. And give a thunderous congratulations to her, even though like she did it in a dirty way, but still, like, I want to give a congratulations of her managing to get the win, like, and retaining her women's championship. And then some just tells me she's going to hold on to that title until AEW All In. Maybe it could be longer than that, and they can make her the longest reigning women's champion. How long did Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa held it for? I'll say, I believe, Britt Baker's like the longest reigning champion, holding that title for holding on to that title until till like the beginning of 2022, I believe, like back in March, I believe, in that steel cage match. But I'm giving it until like how long she held that title since like about September, October, or even November. So she could hold on to that title for like a full year until like she loses it to someone like well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Let me know in the comments who should be the one that should dethrone Timeless Tony Storm, and do you think that she should be the longest reigning women's world champion in All Elite Wrestling? Let me know in the comments down below. But let's move on to the next slide. We got this is where we got Will Ospreay against Bryan Danielson, and man, this definitely showed that this is definitely going to be getting this at least the second best match of the night if Swerve and Samoa Joe does not deliver. But anyway, this is where we got it started with them spinning around. Like, this is where they started saying, like, who should go first. It was like, it probably don't matter. This is where they did so. But this is where we got Bryan Danielson in control with those roundhouse yes kicks. But this is where we got Will Ospreay hitting a flapjack right onto Bryan Danielson, right onto those same ropes in the bottom corner. This is where then he hits a big haluva kick right into the face of the American Dragon. This is where fans were cheering like, yes, yeah. Half of the fans were. Like, it was similar to like Timeless Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa, the last match. This is where fans were chanting Ospreay, 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 Ospreay. Like if it was his version of Sami Zayn's sing-along chants. Like, and this is where, that's where I was thinking, like, they keep saying, I spray. Like, what they're spraying. Like, is it spraying? Are they spraying perfume, cologne, deodorant, like sprayable deodorant, or Febreze, or even the fart spray? Like, what they're spraying. Like, I'm not sure what they were spraying. Like, let's hope it was some kind of a sweet ocean lavender, like some kind of an ocean spray, like something that smells very fresh and sweet, and it's something that you want your house smelling. But anyways, this is where we got Will Ospreay then said like, and this is where fans were chanting, we're not worthy as well. And this is where fans were saying, like, let's go, Ospreay. And this is where Will Ospreay's like, get him up. Like, come on. Like, I need to start raising them higher and higher for them chanting him on. This is where we got Will Ospreay then hit a springboard forearm right to the face of Bryan Danielson. This is where he gave a huge handshake right onto the one of the fans right to the bottom corner right onto the bottom, what's that corner, right into the bottom corner side of the ringside area to the fans that was in attendance. This is where we got Will Ospreay then grabs onto Bryan Danielson, throws him back in the ring. This is where Will Ospreay tells the cameraman, like, come on, guys, show the angle right here, the spot right here. This is where we got Will Ospreay right onto the bottom corner side of the ring. This is where he tried to go for a springboard forearm, looking like his version of the phenomenal forearm. But Bryan Danielson caught him with a huge right-legged kick, and yeah, that's where Bryan Danielson then are hanging on to the right side of the ropes. That's where then. This is where Will Ospreay was like, my spleen, like I'm not sure what Danielson kicked like hard, but I'm not sure like what he kicked, but it's going right towards that area, like, but yeah, that's what brought him down to the ground. That's where surprisingly he got back up after taking such a bump, like, but yeah, but. But Will Ospreay is not a normal dude. Like he takes so much pain, like from his years in professional wrestling for over a decade. Like he took all the maneuvers in this sport. Like, so yeah, nothing was not gonna put away the aerial assassin, at least not easily. But anyways, this is where Danielson then knee Ospreay right into the spot where he kicked him at when he intercepted Ospreay into that springboard. What's that forearm maneuver? But this is where the Irish whip Ospreay right into the right side, hits him with that sink knee, like what Excalibur called it, the sink slip, like, or what's that, the sink slip, like what made him flip over right to the left side. This is where we got him try to go for a pinball and got a 2.1. This is where then Danielson then got try to grab both of Ospreay's hands, tie it together. But he was like, I have a better idea. How about I start kneeing that back? That's gonna be worse than doing some kind of hammerlock maneuver. This is where we got Bryan Danielson start targeting the legs. This is where he started going for like a sideways figure four leg lock right onto Will Ospreay, tying them together like where you do not want your legs to be tied at. It's almost worse than Ric Flair's version of the figure four leg lock. It looks like more likely Fit Finley's version of the figure four leg lock. Like for those that are aware, y'all understand exactly where I'm coming from. But those are not really aware. Yeah, long story short, Fit Finley has his own version. Instead of putting his leg, like putting like the left leg right down onto the underleg, like the leg that's tied right under, like he does it right on, put his left foot right onto the top of the right knee of his opponents, which that's what Bryan Danielson was doing right onto Will Ospreay. He was like, tap out. And then this is where he wasn't tapping out. This is where he's like, all right, forget it. This is where he start hitting the spleen, and then hit a forearm, like hit the right hand to the spleen, and then hit a right forearm to the face of Ospreay. This is where he started going back and forth, doing both at the same time. Like first started punching his spleen, and then forearm right to the face of Ospreay. This is where he started going left and right to his ribs. This is where then he grabs onto Ospreay, like in the sitting up until he then wrapped his leg around the back of the head of Ospreay when he lifted him right up. This is where he got him in some kind of a Black Widow submission hold, but in the ground rather than being up in the air. This is where the referee's like, "What do you say, Will? Like, do you submit or no?" This was like, "No, I don't." This way, he rolled right towards the right, or more likely left, into his angle, and then grab onto the right side ropes. This is where then he grabbed on the rope. This is where the referee warned him by counting all the way to the two. This, not all, but you know what I mean. Like y'all get the point. But this is where they start hitting knife edge chops right into each other. With fans were like woo woo, like with them Bryan Danielson getting the first shot, and then Ospreay with the second. This is where Danielson then went third. This is where Ospreay got the fourth. This is where this is where Danielson gets fifth, and then Ospreay gets sixth, and you get the rest. But yeah. I believe they knew this was a national no Gunther week. Like it still continued from last week, and they wanted to take advantage of the moment of getting free chances of hitting the knife edge chop, which Gunther will be very ticked off right now if he sees any of these AEW guys hitting the knife edge chop right onto each other, and that will somewhat piss off the ring general. Like if he sees any of the any of these wrestlers from the rival promotion, whether if they formerly wrestled for the company that he's wrestling for or not. Which that's the case in Bryan Danielson's hands. While Ospreay, not quite. He nearly did, but he chose AEW instead, and it seemed like he won't be going to the Stanford-based company, especially with the comments he made about the chief content officer. But anyway, this is where we got Bryan Danielson to start hitting right hands, left, right into the ribs. Then roundhouse kick right into the midsection. This is where we got then try to Irish whip what's his name? Will Ospreay right into the upper right side, but this is where Ospreay counters and threw him instead. But you know what else Bryan Danielson did? This is where he started off doing his comeback move with him doing a backflip right in the air, like about at least 12 feet in the air. Like when he went right up in the upper right side rope, this is where he flips out. This is where he runs right to the bottom corner rope. This is where Will Ospreay then try to go for a clothesline. Danielson ducks, runs right to the top corner ropes. This is where he try to go for a flying clothesline. But this is where we got this is where we have what's his name? This is where we had Will Ospreay ducks out of the clothesline, goes for a springboard flip and a step up ensigiri, which that looks similar to the signature move that I use on WWE 2K23. I was like, wow, like he must be spying on me, because like why else he knew about this move unless he saw Cedric Alexander. I believe that's the only person that had used it like through time to time, but it was like a regular regular generic move. But he used it right into his in his favor, like just to get back on in offensive position. This is where then Ospreay did say like, let's keep going round and round and round, like it is like, and it's like, and I'm still I'm still getting there. Like I still need to what's that like I still need to get back up and finish off the American Dragon. Like it's still not gonna be easy, despite him still down. But yeah, I'm still going to defeat the Dragon and get the biggest win of my career in AEW and overall in professional wrestling. This is where fans could not stop saying this is awesome, which it really was awesome. I'll say this was absolutely extremely awesome. As a matter of fact, I was like this match, this match is definitely getting second place, unless Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland don't successfully deliver, but other than that, this is gonna be second place. But I'll say if Swerve and Joe doesn't deliver, just as good as Danielson and Ospreay, then it's gonna get the number one spot for sure, guaranteed number one. At the end of the night, of course, but it's getting second place because Swerve Strickland and Samoa Joe more likely did a wonderfully phenomenal job in their match, which I'm gonna get to that in the next two matches. But anyway, this is where we got. This is where Will Ospreay then hit a big boot right into the face of Bryan Danielson, right to the bottom right side. This is where then he hits a phenomenal forearm right to the left side, which he didn't call it the phenomenal forearm. He just called it the springboard forearm. Looks similar to a guy that used to wrestle in his indie days. But anyway, this is where he tried to go for a pin, but this is where Danielson got the kick out at 2.2. This is where then Danielson's like, nope, not staying down. This is where Ospreay's like, okay, fine with me. Like, enjoy yourself into a ride. I'm gonna keep keep giving you, because it's gonna be one that you're never soon to forget. This is where we got him trying to go for a power bomb, but this is where the Ospreay to start kicking him right to the head. He's like, stay down. This is where Danielson no, sir. And this is where when he grabbed his leg after one final time that Ospreay was trying to kick Danielson right to the head. This is where we got Danielson grabbing onto his leg. This is where he hits a big stinging chop that you could probably hear even if you're at home, echoing around the United States. But anyway, this is where he started hitting some kicks right to the left, right. This is where then he runs right to the left side. This is where we got Will Ospreay then going for a backflip insecurity kick. This is where then he hits him with a forward step up insecurity. This is where he sends it right to the outside. Fans will clap. And this is where Don Callis could not stop yelling while he was in commentary with Excalibur, Nigel McGuinness, and I believe Tony Schiavone, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is where he was right up on Will Ospreay was right on the upper left side of the top rope. This is where he tried to take a page out of a certain WWE couples playbook and go and did a big moonsault, dive right onto Bryan Danielson. This is where, This is where he goes for a diving, twisting corkscrew splash right onto Danielson. This is where Ospreay's like, yeah, like I can do this, like especially when I can put my mind into it. This is where Danielson's like, yeah, that may be true, but considering I just took this move, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna beat me. This is where the fans start chanting, "Holy sugar honey iced tea, holy sugar honey iced tea," and they weren't calling for a refreshing beverage here when they were chanting this very huge spot that Will Ospreay did in their match, in him and Danielson's match. Let me rephrase that. But yeah, fans couldn't stop saying, "Holy sugar honey iced tea, holy sugar honey iced tea." Like, yeah, even though they must have been selling sugar honey iced tea, but yeah, they weren't asking for it. They were chanting the word that stands for that. But this is where we got Will Ospreay then. This is where we got Ospreay then and throws Danielson right into the ring. This is where then he goes right up in the the lower left corner. This is where then he hits a striking flying forearm right to the back of the head of Danielson. Here's where then we got Ospreay then pulling on to his elbow pad right up. This is where he was trying to get ready to hit the move. This is where half the fans were chanting yes, and while the other was like no, others said yes. And then this is where we got. That's where he tried to go for a kick, but this is where Danielson then intercept by hitting a big yes kick right into the arm and trying to damage it, so it won't be useful to hit his finishing maneuver with that back elbow maneuver. This is where then Danielson then followed up with a yes kick right onto the back of the elbow, like after hitting the side part of it. This is where then Danielson, the hidden blade, that's what the name of the move is. Yeah, it was the hidden blade maneuver, right, that he hits right onto Bryan Danielson. But this is where we got Danielson to try to go for a double chicken wing suplex right onto Will Ospreay. This is where we got Ospreay kicking out at 2.6, I believe. This is where we got Danielson and then took one of his arms, which I believe was his left arm. He took it out of Ospreay's left arm, like when he was doing the double chicken wing suplex. This is where then he got him and did an elbow strike with that arm and started doing it right onto the right shoulder, right onto Ospreay, right around the right side of his neck. But fans were chanting yes, 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 yes. The other one half of the which was Bryan Danielson fans were cheering like yes, 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 while Bryan Danielson then got him right into a double underhook. What's that? A double underhook dragon lock, like some kind of a flap double underhook dragon lock. Like this where he was soaring and while locking in this move, like with Ospreay's like, no, I'm not tapping out, even though it's very difficult of me escaping. This is where then Ospreay decided like, oh, I have an idea. This is where he puts his right foot right onto the top corner ropes. This is where the referee was like, all right, he on the ropes, like you got 5 seconds to get off. This is where he counted all the way to 2. And I'm sorry, I keep saying all the way. I should say he counted to 2, only 2. But this is where Danielson was like you little sneak. And this is where he's like, but no matter, like you're still not gonna beat me. And then this is where Danielson then grabbed his arm, twisted right back, and this is where he bend it forward right over his shoulder. This is where Ospreay was like, my arm, and this is where he hits him with a follows it up with a left-legged yes roundhouse kick along with a knife edge chop. This is where then Danielson did right to the bottom right side, then in the upper right. This is where he gets him with the yes kick, and this is where he picks him up, put him around the top rope in the upper left side. This is where he got Ospreay right where he wanted him. This is where he tried to go for a big hurricane rana right off the top rope. This is where Ospreay flips right out of it, and he still was standing after taking the hurricane rana. I'm like, Ospreay's not human. Like, how did he flip out of it like this? Like, and that has to take pure inner mind talent just to flip right, just to do such a maneuver like that. Like he, even though he's kind of like Ricochet, AJ Styles, and Claudio Castagnoli, and guys that flip out of maneuvers like counter power bombs, like a body drop, and even or even a Death Valley driver, attitude adjustment, or even a hurricane rana off the top rope. And this is where Ospreay was like. It was like, and this is where it's like, not today, Danielson. Like, and this is where Danielson's like crud. Like, he did not fall down. This is where we got Ospreay didn't like bring it on, drag his face. This is where then he hits him with a tiger bomb or tiger driver, I guess that's what it's called, which he flipped him right back, hit him back first. This is where he tried to go for a pin, but this is where Danielson got the shoulder up at 2.7. And then there's so many kickouts, like every time they hit each other with their signatures or finishing move, respectively. And this match was so long. I think this was the longest match of the night. Like, I think it was like about between 40 or 50 minutes long, like almost an hour. It was like almost an hour contest, which that's very rare to see on AEW television. Which this was not normal like a normal television show. This was a pay-per-view. This was AEW Dynasty, which they had plenty of time. I believe that's what gave all the time up. Like, was this match here? Well, I mean, even though they had plenty of matches that lasted for like a good 2-3 hours, but this alone was like an hour itself, like or at least nearly an hour. But this is where we got Ospreay. Then that's where Ospreay was like, okay, like you. That's where Ospreay was like, okay, like no matter, like I'm not worrying much about it. This is where he tried to go for that hidden blade, but this is where he's like, no, I think I should not hurry up and go for that move. But this is where then he tried to go for what's that, like some kind of a diving corkscrew dive. But this is where Danielson stops him. This is where he trips him right over. This is where he landed right onto the family jewel. I was like, ow, like it seemed like him and his partner, or wife or whatever you want to call her, like that's in the relations with the aerial assassin, won't be bringing in a new child, bringing a new child and have Ospreay's stepson. Well, it seems like Ospreay's stepson won't simply have a sibling anytime soon after hitting hit with such a maneuver. But this is where we got Danielson try to go for a suplex, but this is where he gets elbowed by this is where he elbows Danielson, but Danielson then answer back with an elbow right into the right shoulder of the aerial assassin. This is where he tried to go for a double a double dragon suplex maneuver, or no, double chicken wing suplex. That's what it was. A double chicken wing suplex. This is where Nigel McGuinness and Don Callis couldn't believe this. Like, oh no, like no. This is where Excalibur's like, if he hits this could be over. And this is where it was so close that he could win with this move, like because he flips it right up. This is where he did a backflip and he made him. That's where he did like at least 2 or 3 backflips after getting hit with that move. And then this is where Ospreay's like, oh my vertebrae, and this is where he's like, they start grabbing the back of it. And this is where fans couldn't even believe what Danielson did. Like, this is the most largest move that he ever done in his wrestling career overall. And yeah, and this is where fans were chanting "Holy sugar honey iced tea" again. And let's hope the guy in the snack bar didn't get confused here what they were saying. Even though, yeah, I'm just making this up. And obviously they said the word that's that's a profanity word. But anyways, yeah, this is where we got this is where then Danielson and Osprey they got this is where then Danielson then went towards right up to Osprey with him still grabbing the back of his neck after getting hit with that move. This is where Danielson then go right up on the go for that's where he tried to go for a pin, but this is where a referee counted the two. But as soon as he counted the two, this is where he pointed that Osprey's leg was right on the ropes. This is where he was like, "Yeah, that." Even though it's right in the fronter part of the ropes, that's still a rope break. And this is where we got Danielson's like, "Man, like yeah, this is not getting easy. Like he's keep getting luckier and luckier every time I hit him with a match-ending move. But this is where he started getting him with the yes kicks, like or a different name of the move, which is roundhouse kicks right into the chest of Osprey. This is where fans were chanting yes, while the other half was chanting no, like no, like yes, no, like yes, no. And every time he did so, that's what we keep hearing until he was like in his until he was like in his sixth attempt of hitting a kick. She was waiting for him to get Osprey to get back up because he fell right back when his fifth straight. That's where he fell right back. That's where he kicks him again. That's where then Danielson then was like, like what to do now? And this is where he got back up. This is where he had some some kind of an Undertaker like energy, like getting back up. He was sitting up, like I was like, wow, like. I was like, oh my god, like how he got up so easily like that, like, and he's definitely not human, and this is where I was kind of getting some Undertaker vibes, like after he got up like that. This is where we got Danielson then hits a leg, what's that, a slide swipe kick right into the chest of the aerial assassin. This is where we got Danielson was like, "You just don't want to quit, don't you?" And this is where Danielson's like, "No, like I was made to be harmed. Like hit me with some more, punish me as hard as you can. Like if you have the testes to do it." And this is where he's like, "Bring on your best shot." And this is where, Danielson did. It was like, "Okay, like I got something for you." This is where he hits him with a big slap, like trying to do some kind of Will Smith impression, like of an attack. But this is where we got Will Ospreay then hit a big elbow right into the face of Danielson, hitting him right jaw, like clean clocked him. This is where it looked like he was out for the count. This is where then Will Ospreay pull up his elbow pad to try to go for the hidden blade. But this is where he's like, no, I don't want to jinx it. Like I tried to go for a tip at first, but it wasn't successful, but I could have, even though I could get a guarantee by hitting the strike right onto Danielson, but I don't want to risk it just yet unless I know for sure that he's going to be down and he's going to be able to get up. And this is where he started kicking him, stomping him right to the right side, even though Danielson was grabbing onto the rope, and then started hitting right hands. This is where the referee's like, hey, he's on the ropes, like 1, 2, and then he stopped at 3 with the referee pulling him back. He's like you need to remember, like even by DQ, that's still going to mark down as still a loss against the American Dragon. But anyway, this is where we got Will Ospreay then put Danielson right into the position. This is where he put him in a certain position by putting him between his legs, grabbing his arms, put him in an underhook position. And then fans are like, oh, like don't tell me he's doing what you think he's doing. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I hope he's not going for a move that he's been talking sugar honey iced tea to, like just because he heard him in that interview with Pat McAfee saying like these AEW wrestlers don't want the full-time commitment that WWE has to offer, and he thought that he taking a shot at him, saying he's afraid to grind like in a full-time base. And then he took a shot at him saying the reason why I got his position because he's too busy grinding on to the former boss's daughter. But anyways, yeah, back to this review of this match. This is where we're trying to go, but it was leaning towards like a tiger driver, like the double underhook power bomb. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Luckily, he's not taking a shot at the guy he took an aim at, like on that interview a couple weeks ago, like with Renee Paquette at that episode of AEW Dynamite. But this is where Danielson flips out of it. This is where we got Danielson then trying to flip out of it. This is where he did go for a roundhouse kick right into the chest, like kick. This is where he's all repeatedly doing like yes, yes, yes until he grabs onto the. This is where we got Will Ospreay grab onto that leg, and this is where he hit the big elbow right into Danielson's leg. He's like, my leg, and this is where, and then he's like, I it felt like I felt like that he sprained it, and this is where Will Ospreay didn't super kick him right, like even though he was right behind him, but he did a sliding leg kick right into the face of the American Dragon. This is where the Will Ospreay then springboard right onto the middle of the turnbuckle on the outer part, like with the little that little bar that's holding up the turnbuckles. Like this is where he springboard off there and hit him with the most dangerous Os cutter that I've ever seen he ever did in professional wrestling. Even that includes New Japan and all the indie promotions that he wrestled for. He just went Bryan Danielson's face and neck right into the hardest part of the ring. I was like, ow! Like, and that I was like, even if that wasn't on the apron, I still think that was very brutally horrible for Danielson to take such maneuver like that. And this is where everybody was clapping, like, this is an awesome match. Like, this is totally awesome. And then this is where Danielson started grabbing onto his head. This is where the fans who couldn't believe this is where they start grabbing onto their head. They're like, wow, like that. He literally just did that. And then this is where Will Ospreay then this is where then we got this is where we got Will Ospreay throwing Danielson right back in the ring. This is where he trying to put him away like for a pinfall, but this is where Danielson tried to grab on him, try to go for the LeBell lock, thinking this is gonna be a double whammy guaranteed to hit the LeBell lock. Like because the first time he tried the move, he successfully hit it, but the second time, it was gonna be a guaranteed and knew it was gonna be double lucky, but at the same time, Will Ospreay managed to get out of it. He was this close from getting it locked in, but Ospreay flips out of it. This is where he picks him up right in the midair, try to go for like a single-handed power bomb. But this is where Danielson flips out of it. This is where he got his arm around Ospreay's neck and head and got him in a guillotine choke. This is where he's like, tap out, Os, like, got out, like, come on, get out. And then this is where Will Ospreay then flips out, then intercepts it and try to go for a suplex, but this is where we got Danielson flips out of it. This is where then he hits him with a flying head scissors face buster right onto Ospreay. This is where he got him onto the LeBell lock, which he must have found like either a third leaf clover or he just got lucky with some kind of a pattern, like when it may work the first time, it may not work second, and then it works the third time. But yeah, this is what it was like here when he got him into the LeBell lock, the former yes lock. This is where then Ospreay is like, no way, I'm not capping out. No, I'm not. And this is where Ospreay are crawling and trying to get to the other side, and like. And this is where fans were chanting Ospreay. The 50% of the fans were chanting him, saying like, "Come on, Ospreay, Ospreay." And this is where Will Ospreay was trying to grab on the ropes. But this is where Danielson started preventing him to. This is where he prevented him to grab onto the rope. This is where he started bending it right to sideways, trying to go for some kind of a LeBell abdominal stretch lock, and like a hybrid of a abdominal stretch and a LeBell lock. This is where then he started bending it back where it should not be bent at all. But this is where we got Ospreay then overpower Danielson. This is where he then flips right out of it. This is where then he tried to go for the hidden blade right onto Danielson's face, but Danielson ducks out of the way. This is where he runs right onto the diagonal corner in the lower right, while Ospreay was in the corner where Danielson was at the upper upper left, but this is where Danielson caught him right in the middle, hit him with a running knee right into the face. This is where everybody thought this might be it. And it even had me believing that this could be it. And I was like, like, don't tell me he's going to pull off an upset. And then the referee counted 1, counted 2, and then rise up and down, try to go for it. And before the referee could even put his hand right down on the mat to touch it, like, this is where Ospreay got the shoulder up at 2.99999. Everybody in commentary was like, oh my God, like, did Ospreay just kicked out at the final second? Like, are you serious? And this is where Tony Schiavone's like, that was amazing. Like, how did he do that? Like, I was like, yeah, this guy's definitely going to be a future AEW World Champion, like, whenever that day may be. But it looks like he's still going to be be building up to that point. He's going to remain into this position, like, until he gets that title picture. But I'm going to talk more about that in just a moment. But this is where fans were chanting AEW, AEW, AEW. This is where there's like they were chanting Fight Forever, Fight. I was like, why they're chanting the video game's name of All Elite Wrestling? And then this is where Danielson was like, I guess this is a good thing he kicked out of it, because it's time to kick his effing head in. And I was like, did he really just said that? Like, even though he's not on the microphone, but you can still hear him by shouting it out. And this is where fans said it along with him, which I started chuckling. I was like,